All right, get ready because today we're diving deep into something really incredible. We're talking about how your body is actually designed to heal itself.
hmm
And we've got some great insights from Coach Dave to guide us along the way.
Oh, I'm so ready for this. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about Coach Dave's approach,
Huh.
especially his focus on this idea of stasis.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It's all about creating like the perfect conditions inside your body for healing to happen.
Mm.
And Coach Dave, he uses this really cool analogy. He compares our bodies to a house. And any health issues that we might be dealing with, whether they're big or small, he says they're like fires in that house.
I like where this is going. So, like, if you just have a little sniffle, that would be a small fire,
Yeah,
contained, easy to put out.
exactly. But here's the thing. If you let those small fires just kind of smolder, if you ignore them, like if you're constantly stressed out or you're not sleeping enough, those little fires can turn into a raging inferno.
Oh, wow.
And then suddenly you're dealing with a full-blown wildfire.
Yeah, like chronic inflammation or even worse.
Exactly. Those are the big problems.
Yeah.
And those wildfires, those are the ones that just drain all your body's resources, right? It's like you're constantly putting out fires instead of having the energy and the resources to actually rebuild and heal.
Right, like you're always on defense, never able to go on the offense and actually make progress.
Exactly. And that's where Coach Dave's idea of stasis comes in. And he's not just talking about like vitamins and minerals, although those are important, of course. He's talking about this whole system of resource allocation within your body.
So it's almost like our body is constantly budgeting its energy, right? It's deciding where to spend its resources based on what's the most urgent thing at that moment.
Yes. And if we're constantly stressed, eating poorly, not sleeping well, like our body is stuck in this emergency mode all the time.
Always putting out fires.
Exactly. And it never actually gets a chance to invest in, the long-term repairs and maintenance that it needs.
Which means we're more likely to get sick, and when we do, it takes us way longer to bounce back.
Absolutely. It's like our body is constantly playing catch up and it can never quite get ahead.
Yeah.
But Coach Dave also talks about stem cells, and he says we can actually support our body's natural repair crew by focusing on our bone health.
Now that's interesting. It's not something you hear every day. I know stem cells are super important for healing, but what's the connection with bones?
Well, what he says is that our bone marrow is basically like the factory that produces these stem cells. And to keep that factory running smoothly, we need to make sure our bones are strong and healthy.
So it's like making sure that the stem cell factory has all the raw materials and the support it needs to do its job, right?
Yes. I never thought about it that way. But that's such a great way to put it. And it really makes you think twice about how we treat our bones.
Yeah.
It's not just about preventing osteoporosis when we get older. It's about giving our body the best chance to repair and regenerate itself right now.
Right. So building strong bones is actually an investment in our long-term health and resilience. Wow, Coach Dave is full of surprises. And I'm also curious to hear what he has to say about deep sleep. I know it's important, but I'll admit I don't always prioritize it as much as I should.
Oh, believe me, we've all been there. But according to Coach Dave, deep sleep is non-negotiable. He calls it our body's nightly repair session, and for a good reason. It's when those stem cells that we were just talking about, they actually get to work. They get busy repairing damaged tissues, rebuilding our systems from the inside out.
So if we skimp on sleep, it's almost like we're shutting down the repair crew right when they're about to do their most important work. Okay, that puts things into perspective.
Doesn't it? It's like finally giving those construction workers the time and space they need to rebuild after a long day of, firefighting. But it's not just about getting enough hours of sleep. Coach Dave really stresses the importance of deep sleep specifically.
Right, because we've all had those nights where we technically got enough sleep, but we still wake up feeling groggy and exhausted. It's probably because we weren't getting enough of that really deep restorative sleep.
Exactly. And he has some interesting tips for improving sleep quality. Things like, setting a regular sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, and minimizing screen time before bed. They sound simple, but we often overlook them.
Those are great reminders. I know even I need to work on my screen time habits before bed. But good sleep is just one part of the picture, right? We also need to make sure our body is able to absorb the nutrients it needs for repair. And that's where the digestive system comes in, or as Coach Dave calls it, the gut microbiome.
Yes. He describes the gut microbiome as this mirror that reflects our digestive health. And I love that visual because if that mirror is showing signs of trouble, like bloating, gas, irregularity, it's a sign that our gut isn't functioning at its best.
And if our gut isn't happy, then we can't absorb nutrients effectively. So all that healthy food we're eating, it might not be doing us as much good as we think.
It's such a good point. It's like having a leaky faucet. No matter how much water you pour in, you're always going to have a shortage.
And that shortage means fewer resources for those stem cells and those repair processes we were talking about. It all goes back to that idea of stasis.
Exactly. Coach Dave is all about connecting those dots and helping us see the bigger picture. And he really stresses that taking care of our gut microbiome is essential for creating that environment where our body can thrive.
So how do we cultivate a healthy gut microbiome? Is it just about probiotics and kombucha?
Well, those can definitely be helpful, but Coach Dave's approach is a lot more holistic. He talks about the importance of having both probiotics and prebiotics in our diet.
Right, so probiotics are like introducing those good bacteria into our gut, and then prebiotics act as food for them.
Exactly. It's like you're setting up a welcoming environment for the good guys.
Yeah.
And making sure they have plenty to eat so they can stick around.
Makes sense. And I bet he also talks about mindful eating, right?
Oh, absolutely. He talks about slowing down, chewing our food thoroughly, and really paying attention to what we're eating. It's about savoring every bite and giving our digestive system a chance to work properly.
Right. It's like treating our gut with respect instead of just shoveling food in and expecting it to handle it. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Coach Dave is all about creating this harmonious relationship with our bodies.
Yes. And I think that's a key part of the whole puzzle. It's not about following a strict set of rules. It's about understanding how our body works and making choices that actually support its natural healing abilities.
It's about listening to what our body is telling us and responding with care and attention.
Yeah, that's such a perfect transition to our next topic, which is the nervous system. Coach Dave, he often refers to the nervous system as our body's firefighter because it plays such a crucial role in how we respond to stress and how we regulate our internal environment.
The nervous system as a firefighter.
Oh.
I love that analogy.
Me too. I think it really captures the two sides of our nervous system,
Yeah.
On one hand, it needs to be able to react quickly to threats and challenges. It gives us that burst of energy and focus when we need to handle something stressful.
Yeah, it's like when we're faced with danger or we need to perform under pressure. It's that classic fight or flight response, right?
Exactly. But just as important is the ability to calm our nervous system down, to shift out of that fight or flight mode and into a more relaxed, restorative state.
So it's about finding that balance where our nervous system is able to respond when it needs to, but it also allows our body time to rest, repair, and rejuvenate.
Absolutely. And Coach Dave has some really fascinating insights into how we can actually influence our nervous system through different techniques.
Okay, tell me more. I'm all ears. This is fascinating.
Well, he talks about things like cold exposure and breath work as ways to activate the nervous system. It's like giving us a boost of energy and alertness when we need it.
Like a jump start for our internal firefighter, right? Making sure they're ready to go when we need them.
Exactly. But he also emphasizes the importance of knowing when to calm our nervous system down, promoting relaxation and helping the healing process.
And that's where things like meditation and vagus nerve stimulation come in, right? Those techniques help to create a more peaceful internal environment.
Precisely. It's all about finding what works for you and using these tools strategically to support your body's natural rhythm, that balance between activity and rest.
So it's not just about doing all the right things, it's also about understanding how all these different pieces fit together and finding a personalized approach that works best for our individual needs.
You got it. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from Coach Dave's work. It's not about following a rigid set of rules. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge and tools so we can actually be active participants in our own healing journey.
And that's what makes it so exciting. It's about discovering what works for us and creating a lifestyle that supports our overall well-being.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This has been an amazing deep dive so far. We've covered so much, from understanding how our bodies heal to the importance of resources, sleep, a healthy gut, and a balanced nervous system.
And it all comes back to Coach Dave's concept of stasis, creating that internal harmony where our body can truly thrive.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of thriving, we're going to take a quick break. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be diving into even more practical strategies that you can use to support your body's incredible self-healing power.